Both? So a little bit of everything? Is that neither? None of the above? Don't want any of it?
Well, I'm on a weird team, I guess. We're on a team, but we don't have an assistant, and we're not just by ourselves.
To your partners? Get that in writing? No joke there. Okay, so the first thing I'll tell you before I even dig into all my slides is that everything that you do, if you're creating a team, just as when you're a solo agent, needs to be in writing. Because inevitably, trouble's going to come up, and then it's going to be, that's mine, no, this is mine, no, you said and I said, that's your expense, and this is mine, and it puts it all down if you have it in writing in the form of job descriptions. I'm a big hammer on job descriptions and operating procedures. Do any of y'all operate your personal real estate businesses with standard operating procedures in writing? Do you have your own team manuals or solo agent manuals? Okay, so one thing I'll tell you, but this doesn't apply to my slides at all, so you can just ignore me for a minute. So, I tend to go down rabbit trails, but I created standard operating procedures for my business, and I call them SOPs, and that's different than the SOBs you deal with in the business. But they're SOPs, which is my standard operating procedures. Anything that you do in your business on a regular basis. So let's just take price change. What do you do when you get a price change? You get it in writing from your seller. You change your MLS. You change this website. You change your flyer. You change your brochure. All those things that you do. That's a standard operating procedure for a price change. So if you will type that up, you have one piece of your manual in place. If you will create that for everything that you do in your personal real estate business, whether you are by yourself, on a team, thinking of being a team, whatever you're doing, it will create your business in a way that's something you can sell one day. Because some among us have sold their businesses, and glad to do it. The more organized, sorry, pointing at you here, you know. But the more organized you are with your business and the more you have in writing that's procedural, the better chance you have that somebody will buy it from you when you're ready to get the hell out of this. And also it's easier to integrate people into your business when you can say, oh, you're my new assistant, great, we have a price change. And they have a checklist and Shazam, they just go right down and take care of it. You don't have to recreate the wheel every single time you do something. And it sounds really overwhelming to create something like this, especially when we're in a busy market for the time being. But if you do one a week, within a year, you'll have your book put together. And it's not that bad. It's anytime you run into something that you do, you fired an asshole seller. This is my fire an asshole seller checklist. Get the sign and lock box, take them out of the MLS, refer them to somebody else. So you make up your little list, not give y'all the nice people up front. We give these to Wilkinson Nations because it won't sell anyway if I didn't say that out loud. But it will change your business. So I would highly, highly suggest that you treat your business just like you're a banker, and then building a team or not building a team, however you want to grow your business, just becomes more natural and it's way easier on you. And then when you go on vacation, maybe you could turn your phone off for a week. Because none of y'all have done that in how many years? You have a baby and you're sitting there checking your phone, which I did. So I guess we can go to the slides. Are we on the slide? Are you not on the slides? Who's mashing the buttons?
Yeah. That's over there.
Do I have to?
Yeah.
Here.
If you hit it to now, National.
That's my technical term, you know, since I'm high rolling through the country. So, when you're talking about real estate teams, it can be a smart move, it can be a money pit. Have any of y'all ever downsized a real estate team? Dean, you've downsized your team before, haven't you? Not in the past?
No, not in the past.
There's some agents in town I could name that have grown their teams to over 20 people during the high rolling days and quickly found out that it's a money pit if you are not managing it for every single dollar. So if you want to create a real estate team, your whole purpose in this is to increase your profit. There is no other reason to do it. And a lot of agents want to add to their team because it's an ego thing. We're not calling ourselves $1 million agents anymore, thank God. We're calling ourselves, mega team. Well, that's crap to the consumer. They don't care what it means to them. They just want to know if it benefits them at all. And if you're not making money, it doesn't benefit you. I don't care what everybody around you is doing. Don't do what they're doing if they're not profitable and can't show you how they are squeezing every dime out of their business. I can show you my books and I will show you where I wring the money out of my business. But if you go to any training events, any webinars, state conventions, wherever you go, ask the speakers, how much profit did you make? How many houses did you sell? Because one of my big beefs in our industry are the people who promote themselves on the big stage and they ain't selling shit. It drives me nuts. Because I look them up in the MLS. Don't y'all When you get a bad offer on your listing, you're like, she ain't sold nothing in 18 months. I'm in charge here. So I do the same thing with business. So it may be a money pit, it may not be for you. But for most agents, once you hit that point of not being able to breathe anymore, this is the next logical step. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so the only reason you build a team is to handle excess leads. Do any of you have excess leads right now? You cannot pick up the phone and call them back because you have no more hours in the day. Then you have no choice but to find a solution for that unless you want the money to go away that you have created. Because everybody in this room is highly successful. That's why we're here. That's why we are blowing the balloon and not drinking the red Kool-Aid. But we have excess leads, and they represent money. And any phone call you don't return, in my personal opinion, inside of 5 minutes is money that just got away from you. It is not for everybody. There's lots and lots of agents that have gone broke creating teams. So if it doesn't fit your personality, there's a solution to that too. I'll explain it for you, don't I? You're Betsy, right? Easy about it, but own it. We want people to buy a house. We want somebody to sell a house. Be proud. But are you a manager? Who in here is a manager? Every hand should go up because you're managing your own business. And the way in which you manage is what's going to dictate whether or not you're profitable and whether or not real estate drives you or if real estate drains you. Because real estate can kill you if you don't control it. But I'm going to suggest that you aren't going to be running a team unless you are a lead generator. That's our only job in real estate. Our job is not to sell houses. Our job is not to make friends with each other. Our job is to generate leads. What we do with them all depends on the training that we receive. And it's why you should go to the Tuesdays with Sam and Edith, because you will get more skills for your tool belt. But you have to have leads to convert. If you are not generating leads, then you've got to go back to square one. So, step one in team world is not buyer agents, and that's the direction most agents go in immediately is, I got extra leads, I don't want to work buyers, I'm going to hire an agent. They do this before they have systems, before they have procedures, and before they have the most important person in the world, which is an assistant. An assistant is the single most valuable person on your team if you hire the right person. If you hire the wrong person, you've got to get rid of them right fast. Fast, Holly, fast. You're rid of bad people fast. But you need to know your numbers.
Did you get that?
So if you in here, if you know what you make per hour in real estate, raise your hand. You can tell me to the dollar what you make in real estate. It's kind of depressing at times if you think about what you make per hour in real estate, but you have to know what you make per hour. I know my number, and it's very substantial. But I also know that the help that I hire is a lot cheaper than what it cost me to ever take a sign out, to ever take a lockbox out, to ever chase a contract around, to chase around earnest money, to chase around this. It's all chasing, isn't it? All the adult daycare stuff that we do with our clients. And what you may not realize is that, is this an adult daycare? You like that? You can use that anytime you want. So if you hire somebody at $15 an hour, do you understand what the true cost of that employee is? Anybody got a guess? National average of $15 an hour employee, $39 an hour. So you're going to be paying them by the time you cover overhead, toilet paper, telephones, the air they breathe, the time they take up, the mistakes that they make. And that's the thing that most people don't budget for when they hire, is the mistakes that every individual is going to make. And it's okay, they're going to screw up. But when they screw up, you're the one that's got to fix it. Because you're the rainmaker, you're the lead generator. So you're going to have to pay for their mistake. That's why I bought home warranties, I bought repairs, I bought termite treatments, I bought all kinds of things in this business. And y'all all have too, I'm sure. But you have to budget that in when you think about the help that you hire. So if you're going to hire somebody at $39 an hour by the time it's all said and done, it needs to be more than what you earn per hour. So if you're currently making $14 an hour in real estate, you need to regroup right quick because you're killing yourself for nothing. But if you're making $183 in real estate, it makes it very easy to understand why it's okay to spend $39 an hour. Because that's the scariest thing in the world is to hire this person. Because all of a sudden you're responsible for their livelihood, and they've got to go to the grocery store, and they've got to make a house payment, make a car payment, feed the kids, pay for daycare, and you're responsible for it, which is very painful as that rainmaker. But then once you turn them into a money generator for you, it's okay. Because somebody that you pay $39 an hour should generate for you $78 an hour. They should be doubling in your business what you pay them. That's the very easy rule of thumb. If they do not generate money, they do not stay on your team. And you want to know how they generate money? They should be out generating referrals for you. If your staff is not actively working in their own sphere for you, you've got a problem. They should be evangelizing at the bus stop, the neighborhood swimming pool. Oh, my assistant brought me 2 referrals from the bus stop this year. She's the queen of the neighborhood bus stop. Because those mamas talk, and they know who's going to short sale and who's out of work. 2 short sales in that neighborhood off the bus stop. She's a good girl. I love her. Y'all can't have her. So, before you hire this person, though, now you've got your numbers in line, you realize you really need this person who's cheaper than you are. So you've got to figure out what they need to do. So this goes back to these checklists that I really, really stress you should create for your own business, these standard operating procedures, any checklist. And I call them NRP activities. You know what NRP is? Non-revenue producing. So anything that my assistant does needs to be NRP. The only things I should do are RP activities. For me, that's talking to other agents and putting deals together. It's talking to sellers, and it's passing off buyers. If you want a good book to read, there's a book called Unique Ability by a guy named Dan Sullivan. He is a entrepreneur coach out of Canada, and that's actually the coaching program that I use. And Unique Ability talks about looking at yourself personally. What do you do, and what do you actually have passion for? It's like, I'm good with buyers, but I hate them, so I don't work them. So that is not my passion. So I avoid it as much as humanly possible because I know that that drains me. I really get a kick out of teaching other agents how to get better at real estate. Wouldn't you say it's fun? And I have a passion for that. So I get energy, and I think I do a pretty decent job with it, but it's because I have figured out now that's what I feed off of. So you should know what you feed off of. Do you know something in real estate that you hate? Who can raise their hand and tell me something you hate right now about real estate? Liars, y'all a bunch of liars. You love it all. Mm-hmm. But do take a look at that, because this book can help you figure out what to pass off to this assistant as you create this checklist. And if you already have an assistant and you already have a team, you should probably revisit your job description annually and make sure that there's not anything in there that they're not doing that they should be doing, because you will find that there are gaps you have been overlooking. You will also find that there's tasks they're doing that are not in their job description. And let me tell you, as an employer, if you don't put it into their job description and they're doing it, they're going to kind of want a lot of extra for that at some point. It will come back to haunt you. So revisit that annually so you don't get hammered. So where do you find a good assistant? You can find agents who just weren't cut out for sales. You know agents like that. They got their license because they heard me dress up and drive around, and then they said, I don't like this. But they won't like real estate. They like looking at houses. They like the idea of it. They can be really valuable assistants because they already have a license. That's a really wonderful thing to have. And if they've already tried the business and found out that it's really hard and they didn't anticipate that, they're less likely to think they can jump in and say, oh, Shanova's making all this money, I can do this better than her, and take her business and run with it, because they've already been down that road. You can also find people on Craigslist. What I'll tell you on Craigslist is that when you place an ad, the single smartest thing you can do in that ad is to add a note at the bottom that says, send your resume in the form of a PDF. You know why I might do that? 90% of them will send you a doc file, and I rule them out because they don't follow instructions. And you'll read some really good resumes on doc, and you'll say that you didn't follow instructions, and I can't have somebody on my team that does not understand that I drive the bus. So it's really, really a powerful trick when you're using Craigslist. Client recommendations are also a really great place to find assistants. My main assistant bought her house from another RE/MAX executive agent who heard I was looking for help and said, oh, my people just moved to town. The wife's looking for work. She's got a clerical background, and she's been with me now for a year and a half. And so that's just part of networking inside our company. You might find some really great resources. So with expectation, this goes, I already kind of went down this, but with the job description, knowing what you want them to do, you know, what are you going to pay this person? If you're looking to pay $8 an hour, you're going to get $8 an hour work. So consider that you want to pay as much or better than your competitors. Because as soon as you get somebody really good, get them trained up and they know this and they've got it, and your competitor swoops in and says, I'll give you $3 more an hour because I am a better office to be in, They will leave over $1. Just like pit crews, they will hop around from team to team. So think about what you pay them and think about incentivizing them with your business. You have to be careful with this if they're non-licensed, but I pay a closing transaction bonus on every closing to my main closing coordinator in addition to her salary, so she has some skin in the game. And if she doesn't get it closed on time, she loses the bonus. But she didn't like that when I put that rule in place. Well, I can't control it. Now, you probably could if you made 2 extra phone calls. So you find some really powerful ways to get your team invested in your business, because they have to understand it. They're getting a paycheck. We don't give paychecks. They do not understand commission world, and they will not understand commission world until you tie them into it in some way, shape, or form. You also need to know what systems you have in place for lead tracking. And this is for any leads that come in, buyer leads, seller leads, referral leads coming in or out. What are you doing to track your closings? What are you doing to track post-closing? What do you have in place to track? Who can tell me in this room what percentage of your business so far this year came from client referrals? You know that percentage right now. Does anybody know? You know your percentages? Oh, then you've got an opportunity for improvement right there. 0 But I track the devil out of my business. My computer's full of spreadsheets that I know what dollars came from where, who's sending me referrals, what did I do to thank that person, who did this and who did that. It's because I want to know who to thank. I want to know what room I have for improvement. My agent referrals have increased tremendously over the last 4 years because I'm learning how better to cooperate with other agents. I don't like a lot of them, so I have to try really hard. Because y'all have heard I'm a bitch. I am not as bad as you've heard. I'm just very direct. Oh, y'all aren't even laughing because you've heard that. So, what is your ongoing role with the client? This is a big thing if you're a solo agent or an agent with an assistant who's thinking about adding a salesperson to your team. You have built this. You are the name. You're the reason people call. What are you going to do with that client going forward so that that client doesn't feel like they got passed off to somebody else? And it's one of the biggest challenges that you have in creating a team is creating an environment where the client feels more cared for instead of more passed off. So you have to decide what you're comfortable with. I call the A buyers that my buyer agents are working with and say, hey, how you doing? I'm the broker. Because you can say that when you're the rainmaker because we're all brokers. But you can call and say, you're the broker that client's going to feel like $100 million. Because they always want to know that the broker knows who they are. And if you're a solo agent with an assistant, you can probably contact any of the owners in the company, any of the VICs. We'll be glad to call your A clients and say, hey, I'm the broker. I was just calling to see if you're super happy with the service you're receiving from Chuck. Is his team taking care of you? Is there anything you need? And 9 times out of 10, they're thrilled. They're like, oh, this is great. What a nice, no, it's wonderful. We love it. It's just great. You've helped cement his relationship. But then also, if they're really mad and he doesn't know it yet, you can really uncover some unhappiness fast. No, Leigh, because I wanted you, and now I'm working with Tracy, and it's not you. Well, I need to know that. I can't find that out if I don't call them because they won't just go yammer about it online. So find a way to reach out to them. I talk to mine on a regular basis. I don't talk to the B's and C's. They're not ready for me yet. And then you have to know what's going to happen after closing on your team. What is your team supposed to do after closing? What do most agents do after closing? They cash the check, the end, and then I inherit them, and then they sell their house with me because I'm going to babysit those orphans forever. So, step 3 in your business, after you've got this assistant figured out, you've got your expectations lined out, and you've still got these excess leads piling up over here, and you've worked 7 days a week, you're tired of it, you hire a buyer agent. So the job description is really critical to setting expectations here. And I set very strict expectations up front for my buyer's agents, and as a result, they are highly profitable for me and for themselves, and they are very, very happy. One of my expectations is they have a block day off every week. They are not allowed to work 7 days a week. I don't need burned out people with my name on their back. And you've got to consider this as you consider how you build your team and who's on your team. You really don't want workaholics. You want dedicated people who will get the job done. But if they're burned out, they're going to be snippy and angry, and I don't need snippy around me. And then you got to figure out what kind of personality you're seeking and whether or not it balances you. Have y'all done the DISC profile training before? Is everybody familiar with that? Anybody not super familiar with DISC? The short rundown of it is that the D personalities, people like me, we don't need any fluff. You You ask me a question, I'm gonna bark out an answer, and I'm on to the next thing. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings because I didn't ask about your family and kids, but I'm done with you now, I've moved on. And so if I go to the mall because I need a skirt, I'm gonna go buy a skirt, I get them out, I'm done. They're the easy people to sell a house to, they're looking 3, they're done. Eyes are most of y'all in here, you like to cocktail and party, and who lives over here, and did you hear about this one? And you know everything about everybody. Your desk is full of piles, and you know what's in every pile, but nobody else does. You don't have to be organized because everybody loves you anyway, because you're just awesome. You're all charisma all the time. Those are your eyes. That's the bulk of real estate personalities. However, eyes like to hire eyes. And if an eye hires an eye, all you have is an office full of piles, and nobody knows what's going on anytime, anywhere, but they're having a good time doing it. And you really can't be profitable that way. And then you have S's. Your S personalities are typically your wives. Well, it can be my husband because he's kind of an S, but that's just because he's married deep. But the S's will have a Tylenol if you have a headache. And if you're cold, they've got a sweater. And if you fell down, they're going to hug you and make you feel better. And they're not going to make a decision until you peel them up off of the wall because they just can't do it. They're not decision makers. You have to nurture them and hug up on them and love them and tell them how great they're doing. Because if you don't, they will cry. Oh, they will cry. So S is actually a really great client care coordinators because they are nurturers. And there's an inspection problem. You'll say, maybe it's okay. I'm going to get an estimate and we're going to figure this out and it's going to be fine. And then your client is down off the ledge. You eyes are going to be like, oh, let's just go have some cocktails and we'll figure this out. And the client doesn't need that right then. So the S can balance the I by kind of bringing it down a level. D, I don't give a shit. I'm like, it's $500. What is your problem? Everybody. And then you have your C personalities, and those are your engineers and accountants, and those are the people that most of us dread because you have to complete the spreadsheet before they can buy a house, and it's kind of painful to find out the R value of the insulation on foreclosure because who cares? But they care because they can't buy a house without every cell filled out. They are not very good client care coordinators because they will get hung up in the details with your client, and then nobody's moving forward. C's can be fantastic seller agents because right now in this market, they're really good at boiling down numbers. They're really good at being non-emotional about listings. They can be really good buyer agents because they are, again, non-emotional about the values, the CMAs, the numbers. They're really great in the buyer's market. But does that balance you? I would lose my ever-loving mind if I had a C on my team because they drive me nuts. I have a couple of S's. I've got a D, and I got 2 I's. So it's a pretty decent balance. But when I need somebody, when my leads are piling up, my tendency is to say, oh, you want to be a buyer's agent? Well, come on. And I'll hire immediately, and that's really bad. So I have to work very hard at this. And there's profile testing you can send applicants through when you're hiring. I always send the top 2 applicants for any position through DISC profiling. So they have to take this test. It costs $30 a person, but it's well worth it. And the website is Resources Unlimited, where you can do a one-shot purchase of the DISC profile. I highly recommend you do it for yourself, just so you can kind of better understand how you tick. And it also helps you understand how your clients tick, because if I'm dealing with an engineer, I truly can tone it down and talk to them in their language. But it's made my business much smoother when I can mirror who I'm talking to. It's huge. And if you make your top 2 take the test, it kind of forces you not to hire the one you like, because that may not be the right one for your team. So again, where are buyer's agents? You'll find them on Craigslist because realtors are looking for work all the time. Y'all might not know this, but if you look in the real estate section, there are lots and lots of realtors looking for work. You just got to be careful how you position it when you write your ad, because Craigslist will take you down in a flat minute because they think we're multi-level marketing. We're not. When we say you can make 6 figures as a buyer's agent, you can if you'll work your tail off, but you have to be careful how you word it. New home agents have been my best resource of buyer agents. That's the single #1 place that I go when I need a buyer agent, because they're used to working every weekend. They're used to working every night, because on their day off, their client wants to come buy that new home. They're going to truck right up in there and write the offer. They're not afraid to write an offer. They're also not afraid to sell. A lot of realtors coming out of licensing school don't want to be seen as a salesperson because that's just uncomfortable. But new homes agents have been taken through sales training. This is the product. Here's what I'm going to present. They're fantastic. And they'll make a lot more money for you than they do with the builders. You can offer them some freedom they don't have. And if you get a really good one, they're coming with a big database that you can work for listings. Especially if you pick somebody that was a CP Morgan, Ryan, Mulvaney, Mattamy, any of those entry-level price point builders. Get somebody who's worked in those for the last 4 or 5 years, because they're going to have a big a source of short sale leads for you. Y'all laugh like I'm joking. I ain't dead laughing. You can ask new licensees. I don't like new licensees myself because they know everything and they don't know anything. But if you want to go down that road, you can. I try not to hire anybody younger than me because they don't know how to work anymore, but it's a different soapbox for a different day. I ask clients for recommendations because they may know somebody or they may actually be interested in a career change themselves. So you can really find some great ways to reconnect with your database by asking them to help you because your team is so busy you need some help. That's a really powerful way to reach out to your past clients. Even if they don't have the foggiest notion of somebody who wants to be in real estate, what did you just cement for them? That their realtor is so awesome, you're so busy, you need more help, and now real estate's back in their mind. So it's a great reason to call your past clients. Because y'all do that every day, right? Call at least 10 a day? So, and then there's past co-broker relationships. I have found some really great buyer agents from past co-brokers who did a really great job but didn't generate enough leads to make a great living on their own or didn't know what to do with them once they sold a house. So then you got to stay the course. So you built this little team. You hired your assistant. They're trucking along, following your checklist. You hired your buyer agent. They've been with you for about a year, and now they're thinking they can do just as well or better than you. But that's one of the risks you run with a buyer agent. They'll be with you max about 18 months unless you get really lucky because they do grow wings, and that's okay. If you've built them up to the point where they've got their own business, you should pat yourself on the back because it means they learned from you and you were awesome. But I try to have a weekly meeting. I have bi-weekly meetings with the admin staff and weekly with the sales staff to talk about new listings, what's happening in the market, where are we on the team, who's unhappy, what do we need to fix, where are we in our systems. We're checking all the little pieces of our business to see, are we firing on all cylinders? Because what I've discovered is that when you screw up, because we all screw up, it's not a problem with the people usually, it's a problem with the system. And if you are consistently having screw-ups in your business or in your team, it's probably because you don't have these SOPs to go back and say, well, this is our system, because if you're not following it, there's your problem. But if you have a system and you're following it and you're consistently screwing up, you need to adapt that system because people will do well if you give them expectations. Quarterly goal tracking, I do annual business planning for myself. We will do that Team Advance in November. And so every quarter we get together and review where we are with our goals. Where is each sales agent on their goals? Where are we income-wise with the admin staff and their spiffs? What are they counting on? Where are we with vacation days? Do y'all ever count your vacation days up? And make sure that everybody's not stacking them in for the end of the year? Because you can get totally screwed if your whole staff's gone for 2 weeks at the end of the year because who's going to work that whole 2 weeks and it's not going to be around. So you want to make sure you're tracking your vacation days in addition to income. You also want to track expenses. If I can give y'all one piece of advice today, if you have a company credit card that you use to pay for your real estate expenses, go home and cancel it right now. I do this every 6 months. I will call American Express and say, hey, I lost my card again, I need a new number. Because what it will force you to do is you'll get these phone calls and these emails from those automated things that you've signed up for, $19.99, $39.99, $1.99, you're paying for it and you've forgotten about. Because now you're busy and you're making some money, so you just pay your bills and roll on. If you cancel your card every 6 months, it's going to force you to stop and say, am I using that or not? And cancel it if you're not using it. This goes back to wringing every penny out of your business. Well, I see some people rolling their eyes at me. I'm going to tell y'all, that is a really great thing to do. It'll save you a ton of money. And the credit card companies don't care because people lose their cards all the time. Just get a new number. It'll force the phone call. Your vendors won't care. If you want to keep them, you say, oh, yeah, I lost it at the gas station. Here's their new number. So sorry. It's really a powerful way to control your expenses. And then you want to do annual business planning. And I know that Sam and Edith offer this as a service. Most of the VICs and owners are glad to do this with you. I've been doing this for several years with my team. I have to know what happened in 12 and what do I need to happen in 13 to hit my revenue goals and to hit my vacation goals and to hit my life goals. You cannot do that if you do not have a path by which to plan. And as a team leader, you also have to lead your team through this. Hey, what do you want to see happen this year? And it's not usually about dollars for your team. You'll find this out. It's not about money. It's about life. I want to go to lunch with my son once a week at school. Well, rock on. Let's put that in our goals. We want to go on a vacation trip in September for our anniversary. Let's put it down. So we plan out our whole year. We plan our team events. We plan vacation days. We plan all of those things in addition to actual income goals, because it's really important to life balance. And then I do individual reviews with the team on a regular basis. How's it going? What do you need? What do you need from me? And that's how I found out that one of my buyer's agents, who is an S personality, she's a nurturing, needs lots of love and type. I found out she needed time with me by myself. She needed one-on-one time with me. And so we set up 15 minutes a week. It was just me and her. And that was all she needed to feel confident and to feel valued. And I didn't even know she needed it because I'm moving so fast. And so that can really help you pay attention to your people, because once you get them to this point, you've now got all your systems in place, they're going to be awesome and you want to keep them. And the one lesson I will tell you, because I have done this so many times, is hire slow and fire fast. And if you screw up and you've hired a really crappy person, you can get them out of your business right now. Oh, Heidi left the room when I said that, didn't he? How about that? You fire fast. And I will tell y'all, if anybody in this room has an employee working for them right now that is not working out, you don't have to raise your hand. But what I'm going to suggest is that if you'll sit down with that employee and offer them $1,000 to leave, they will leave. And you will have rid yourself of an employee problem for a very, very low cost. Because $1,000 is nothing when you consider how many lost commissions you'll have if deals gone queer. So offer them $1,000 and say, hey, I can tell this is just not the right environment for you. You could be more successful somewhere else. So let me offer you $1,000 to help you bide your time while you hunt for something else. And then thank you so much. And off they go. It is relocation assistance. It's not realtor hopper. You should know I'm We can go so far with that. But it's true. And y'all know if you have an employee working for you when it's time for them to go, the longer you let them stay, the worse it gets. Buy them off, let them go.